How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, and let's talk about how to use arbitrary values in Tailwind CSS. So I have a simple setup. We're using the CDN, and we're really just going to be manipulating this div tag just to kind of provide some examples here. Now, let's first mess with this width. Okay, so as you see, this div is being greedy. We want a smaller width. And if I just go ahead and type in like W-20, we obviously know that it's working because, this has changed. But when we hover over it, we get a little more information. And just the mere fact that we can see information when we hover over it shows us that it's working, right? If I use 22 and I hover over that, it's not working. And we can talk about that in a second. Now, let's go back to 20. And you see that it says 5 rem, and that's because all of these values here are multiples of 0.25 rem. Okay, so that's kind of how you can do the calculation here. And if I go ahead and just, remove 20 and I'm looking for a new value here, you're going to see 20, 24, and 28. And that's because it's jumping by 4. Now, and we can't use 22, right? We have to use 20 or 24. And if we go to 24 and we hover over that, you're going to see, oh, this is 96 px, right? And so we need to, use something in between. If that's a requirement of your project, arbitrary values is a great place to do that. And what we can do is we can just give it these square brackets, okay? And we can put really any value we want here. And we gotta also, give its unit, px, that's important, so it knows how much. And so if we do 90 px, let's do like 900 px, you're gonna see that, go pretty far. Maybe you just chop that down to maybe 300 px. And as you see, it's adjusting accordingly. So this is really good if you know exactly the measurement that you want to use, or you want to kind of get in between some of those, Tailwind numbers there. Okay, so that's just a width example. And I think I can probably sneak something in and just say like 30 VW. Okay, and you do see that it updated. And this is just a viewport width. So we can use rem, we can use viewport widths, we can use pixels in here, which makes it really nice. And as you see, we can just do the same thing with arbitrary values with height. Let's say, 50, and I'm going to use VH, right? Viewport height. So there we go. We're using all these values. This is pretty good. But it doesn't really stop there. Let's just give it like a little bit of padding here just so we can kind of see those corners fully on the left-hand side. And we can actually mess with, let's see, how round the corners are as well. So those border radiuses, no problem. So we're going to do rounded, and let's just go to 2XL and let's hover over this. And you're going to see, oh, this is 16 pixels. Okay. Now, if we go to, and I think that's the max. I don't think we have any other ones. Let's hover over this. Okay. So we have 12, 2XL is 16. What if we want 14? That's no problem. A great example of where we can use arbitrary values. So we're using 14 px, and as you see, it has been rounded accordingly. Okay, awesome. And so another thing we can do here, which is really, really useful, is we can use colors, right, with arbitrary values. We can use hex codes. So, normally we have like text. Oops, there we go. And we can say like sky and then like 400. And as you see, the text has changed. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to do this with the background just so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so if I say sky 400, we get that nice change, that nice light blue. But let's say we need like a specific color and it's not included in Tailwind's, type system, if you want to call it that, or I should say like color system. What we can do is we can do the same thing, right? We can use those square brackets, and we can just paste in a hex code. And as you see, that is going to work. Now there's one thing we got to be careful about, and that's just not doing something like this. That's not going to necessarily go over well. We want to use that hashtag, and then we will be all set there. So that's another way we can use arbitrary values. And so if it's something that you're trying to get really, right, something really specific, go ahead and use that. Or if you're trying to get in between some of those values, right? In between like X or 2XL, that would be a good place to use it. So I hope this helped. If it did, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.